be talking about animal rights and the argument of it. So to get into it first, my background research was that I did 2 readings from our philosophy textbook, which was The Case for Animal Rights by Tom Regan, written in 1985, and Speaking of Animal Rights by Marianne Warren in 1987. Now, what's interesting is Marianne Warren, Speaking of Animal Rights, was actually a counter-argument to The Case for Animal Rights. And she had gone through a couple of different things that Tom Regan and points that he has made, and pretty much said whether or not those actually were true or should have any truth uphold to them. So one of the interesting parts was, for Tom Regan's reading, he had really made it a point with mammals and agricultural use of animals as well, and never really got into the other nitty-gritty kind of animals. While Marianne Warren had questioned the moral status of every animal, whether it was a little insect or a Gila monster or a tortoise or a bird. And she really got into that and kind of made it her point that, we don't know the moral status of every single animal and what their rights may or may not be in their mind and their emotions and etc. So the two went back and forth about a bunch of different things, such as agriculture, where animals stand with agriculture. And what was interesting was Marianne Warren had made the point that, we need animals for food, and that as long as we morally kill them, morally killing, which meant we gave them a painless and cruelty-free way of leaving this earth, that it was okay. It wasn't amazing, and it's still a nitty-gritty thing that happened, but that it wasn't as evil and horrible as Tom Regan had said. So another thing they'd went back and forth on was animal testing, which was speaking about lab animals. And so what's interesting is she had stated that lab animals aren't necessarily right, and same thing with Tom Regan, but she had made the point that, for medical research and stuff, there should be an exception because, medical research is very important to us as people and even the other animals, and veterinarian medicine and how we know certain flea medicines might work for dogs and such. So medical testing kind of goes a long way and covers a lot of bases, while something like cosmetic really isn't necessary and is really making a big, strong move into the world we know today, into society. So I thought that was really interesting. So another good thing, an interesting thing that I thought Tom Regan had to say, Crookie's moving. He said, I don't want to hear more about Tom Regan. So one more thing about Tom Regan was he said a good end does not justify an evil means, which I thought was very interesting. And he had stated that in an analogy that if his Aunt B, for instance, who is a very rich but snobby and angry, cranky old lady, if she dies, he gets her money, so he's written in the will. And his point was that if he wanted to take that money and donate it to a children's hospital, but she obviously doesn't want to do that till she dies. So he said, what happens if I had her murdered or I killed her myself and then took the money and used it with the children's hospital? Even though, it has a good end that the kids get the money, it doesn't justify the fact that he murdered her. Crookie, stop. There we go. He has to readjust a little bit. So, I thought that was pretty interesting. Another good example between the two was sentience, and that's a good question we're going to try to raise today. What is sentient and what isn't? And according to Marianne Warren, she had made the conclusion that a sentient being was anything from this guy to an ant to us, but a non-sentient being is like the mountains or the rivers or the lakes. Because what had happened was Tom Regan really described inherent value the entire time in his reading. And her point was, inherent value doesn't mean just the living. Inherent value also means lakes and mountains and sunsets and stuff like that. And we obviously know that's not a living thing as of right now. So both of them went back and forth a lot. And I figured, we'd raise some questions here in the shop, as I call it. This is my reptile room. And we'd ask a bunch of animals what their opinion is on animal rights and whether or not they live a great life. Because according to me, I think they do. So my part of the video, other than interviewing my animals, is I know I have to share my opinion on what I think of animal rights. And I think that as long as we morally use animals for good, positive things on this planet that may or may not benefit us, that I think that it's okay. Such as, farming animals for food, because even if all of us went vegan and we never used animal byproducts again, many of our furry companions would suffer because they need animal byproducts. And I mean, even guys like this one who eats rats, right, Kruki? He doesn't like the microphone. Needs stuff like that. So I thought that was an interesting one. So Tom Reagan had, like I think I said, made an interesting point about, animals that no matter how much room or space and food and companions that we give them, it's still not moral to keep them, which I don't necessarily think is false. But like I had said, owning animals, I believe, should be a privilege and not necessarily a right. Like, if I'm able to provide the adequate care and need that an animal like this requires, then I should be able to own him. But I think people that think that they can just go buy a $5 lizard from Petco don't really think the same way as I do. And unfortunately, it's given a lot of people, especially people owning exotic animals like birds and small mammals like ferrets and hamsters, as well as any kind of reptile or amphibian, a bad rap. And I don't think that's necessarily true. Same thing with zoos. Because since I'm a zoo science major, I speak really strongly of zoos. And I think that, especially our highly accredited ones here in the United States, they have a very good program and they only want the best for animals and animals in the wild. And they're not exactly happy to have to keep these animals in captivity. But due to their declining population and stuff, they've kind of been given no chance for most of these guys. So I thought that was interesting. So first off, I'm going to interview Kruki here. And Kruki, I'll give you a little insight of all my animals. Kruki here is a 10-year-old Gila monster. He's never seen the wild. He was born in captivity, born and raised, right, dude? All right. His birthday is November 21st, 2011, so he even has a birthday. And his favorite food is rats, and he is really done with me holding him. And see, I know that because he's telling me and the way he's moving and stuff. So I'm like, okay, once I'm done this, you can go. But most of my animals, I rarely ever bother unless it's food time, because that's all they want. And so yeah, so Kruki, what do you have to say? Absolutely nothing. Thought so. He's kind of a quiet one and a bit of a grump being at 10 years old. He's about middle age, by the way, so. And what's your opinion on animal rights, Opal? Do you think you have any rights right now? Okay. Well, she's on the move. That's all for Opal. Your opinion on animal rights and welfare, Nitro? In his defense, he's never seen a microphone like this before, so he's probably thinking I'm trying to attack him with something. I'm not. Can you please answer the question, sir? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I guess that's our answer. Question for you. What are your moral rights? Can you name some? Do you have any? What's your opinion? Wow, that was a lot to say. Do you have any other further comment? Nope, he just quickly realized that wasn't food. Alright, Fang, I got some questions for you. So, in your opinion, what are animal rights, and what animal rights do you believe you have? Very interesting. He made a valid point. Well, thank you, Fang. I'll let you go home. What is your opinion on animal welfare? Very interesting. He had a very well constructed thought. Thank you. So Marianne Warren had asked if insects have moral rights or any concept of emotion. And so I thought it'd be very interesting to incorporate one of my many tarantulas. So here we go. Alright, Blondie, like I had said, Marianne Warren had asked if you guys have any emotion. Can you please add to that? I thought so. Thank you. So, cheerio. What's your opinion on animal welfare? Do you feel like your welfare is being met up to in this room? No. Thought I'd ask them if they have any emotion or animal rights thoughts or welfare thoughts. Since, Marianne Warren had asked that question. So, excuse me, ma'am, what do you have to say? She's doing the natural sick bug thing. Let me ask this one. Excuse me. I don't think they like the mic very much, but I guess we'll find out. So, Lucy, what's your opinion on your welfare here? Is it poor or is it good? If it is, please let me know what could be added to make it better. I think she's giving me the silent treatment today. Let me try the other side. Lucy, again, if you have anything to say, please let me know. Oh, the plant's in the way. There we go. Anything? Giving me the silent treatment today. That's nothing new. Alright, thank you, Lucy. So that was an interesting turn of events. I thought we got some very good opinions, right, Opal? We did. I agree, we did. So, I asked my animals about their animal rights and their welfare, and also if any of them show emotions. I think we got a lot out of the tarantula. I think Blondie had a lot to say there. So anyway, I hope that was fun. I hope you enjoyed, and Opal hopes you enjoyed as well, right, Opal? Not gonna give the microphone another, figured. Alright, well, thank you for joining us, and I'm glad this could be the highlight of your day with animal interviews. Thanks, bye. Say bye.